I want to thank you for allowing me to bring this lesson this afternoon with what all's going on in the past 6 months. I've asked God to put on my heart to help us to see the light through the darkness. Is God real? And how can we prove to those that God is real? Well, if you look around you, evidence, and I believe in evidence each and every day. He said, well, go back to the basics. He gave us three lights. Three lights. The first one, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty, darkness covered the surface of the waters, depths, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. There was darkness. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. God saw the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. So in the beginning, God separated light from the darkness. So someone talking to us, how is God real? Well, he made two lights, first of all. He made the light of the sky, night sky, which was the lesser light. And he made the sun, which was the more light. That's evidence right there. But most thirdly, he gave us a third light, which we're going to talk about, which is God's spiritual light, which is most important. When things come our way and we don't understand, we lose loved ones, darkness comes over us, our heart fills with grief, God says, let my light shine through you. And when it shines through you, it will shine to others. And what is the spiritual meaning of light? Light conveys both an absence of darkness and a quality that will help us to see and understand more clearly. The light of wisdom will guide us through troubled times and challenges. Troubled times and challenges. God says, let me be your light. I've thought enough of you while you live here on earth to provide you with two lights, because if the lights went out in this auditorium right now, it'd be dark. Or if a light goes off in your house and you're stumbling through the house trying to find a flashlight and you're thinking, hey, I left it somewhere, I need a light. Well, God is providing that light for us. He thought of us enough to be while here on earth to guide us during the night and to guide us during the day. Because there was a void over the earth that was so dark. And if you've ever been in that kind of darkness, I know I have in Iraq, where you couldn't see in front of your face. That's total darkness. Well, God is telling us something more importantly, that if you don't have this spiritual light, once you leave the earth, he's going to provide you with that spiritual light if you follow what he says. And he sent us that spiritual light through his son Jesus, which you're going to see, who gave us direction. Because without that spiritual light, we're going to be in darkness. He's already told us in the beginning there was darkness. If you don't have the light, you're going to be in darkness. That's why it's so important about God's spiritual light. The holy light of God's presence may be described as a light that illuminates the hidden corners of the human heart and exposes darkest secrets. It reaches the hidden places of the heart, deep places which we may have hidden even from ourselves. Is that why the churches are so empty today? Because when God's light shines upon that darkness and it reaches in your inner heart, it's going to show what is really going on in your life. And if you don't change, and if you don't adhere to him, you will live in darkness in eternity. Proverbs 4:18. The path of the righteous is like the morning sun. The path of the righteous. The more righteous we are, we're like the morning sun. And we'll shine ever brighter to the full lights of the day. So the more we listen to God, listen to his word, and read his word, and shine, the brighter we become. Because in the end day, he's going to see how bright is your light. If your light is not bright enough, you're not going to be entered into the kingdom of heaven. It's just that point simple. Because there's darkness and there's his light. Now, what did Jesus say about the light? Jason brought it this morning. Matthew 5:16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So if we're shining and we're doing what we're supposed to do, helping others, going out, telling others about him, telling someone about in order to have a good day, we're shining that little bit of light, putting that spark. John 8:12. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. That's the third light. God sent his only begotten Son here to provide that light. He gave us the light of the world. Now he's provided the light of life through his Son, Jesus Christ. So if you follow him, you won't see darkness. You'll live in the light. And that's our ultimate goal, is to live in God's light in eternity. John 9:5. Jesus said, while I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Are we the light of the world? While living here, are we providing that light? Jason and I was talking earlier. There are so many that's walking in the darkness that some know they like the darkness, but some are trapped in the darkness because they don't know which way to go. They're looking for someone to lean on or have that word, looking for that smile. Like we were talking about Danny and Charles, just the smile, and remembering that. The light. They shine the light. That's an example. And the brighter they shine, it would just, make your day beam. Like he's talking about Becky singing, shining the light. We got to wake up to that. Just that little bit of light will make your day even brighter, and that's what God is providing through his Son, Jesus. Just like God is a light, you can be a source of light too. You can bring the hope to others by being a good example. Good example. That's more evidence. Come to you honest, God isn't real. The Bible's for back then. It happened back then. And like I was talking to God, well, how do I address that? Go to the basics. Like I said, go in the beginning. How do you know God is real? Well, look around you. Who created the sun? Who created the moon and the stars? Who provides this light for you each and every day? Who provides your breath of life when you get up each and every morning? Yes, the prince of the world can provide everything you want in this world, but your king above is going to provide even more. And you continue to walk in this darkness, or you can look at the evidence around you by looking at the birds and the flowers of the field who toil and snare not. Look at the evidence, and you can't tell me there's not a creator. Even they're trying to recreate the Big Bang Theory. There still had to be a creator in this. That's God. He explains how he did it. He provided us the light, like I said in the beginning, to help us during the night, help us during the day. But most important, what's he thinking about is how he was taking care of us through the spiritual light. So how does God's light shine in your life? We embody the same light when we share God's love with each other as Jesus did, serving with them with peaceful hearts and directing them towards God's provision and mercy. As we shine our lights, let us be thankful for the opportunities we have to be these beacons of hope for people and glorify God in heaven. So seize upon the opportunity when you're given the opportunity to shine and be that beacon of light, to be that lighthouse. Just a lighthouse like for a ship who's out in the darkness, who's going through the dark waters, looking, trying to see where's the shoreline, looking for that light. Light is so important to God. If it wasn't, he wouldn't have created it. He would have left the void of darkness. But he knew when mankind sinned, darkness came back up on the world. He had to provide a light. He had to give up his only begotten Son for us. And his Son could have came here as a king or a great leader and had everything he wanted. But he didn't. He came with humility. Not even a place to lay his head. Born in a manger amongst animals and being over there. That manger is far away from the city. To go and live amongst the animals. To be born amongst them. And they considered that the lowest of the low. But he brought humility. He came here for the sinners. He came to bring that light. He said, if you saw me, you saw my Father in heaven. He provides the light in me, so I can provide the light in you, because while I'm in the world, I provide the light of the world. So while we're in the world, let's provide the light of the world by serving Jesus, by helping others, continuing those who's passed on before us, so others can provide that light. Because this world is getting darker and darker and darker each and every day. And God's going to actually see his individuals, his children, who have the actual light, the light that he has given us, that will shine through this darkness. So, I'm asking you in closing, will you follow the light of Jesus? John 1:4 gives the answer. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The life gives the light, the life Jesus has, and the life he shares with those who follow him gives them the light. There's only one way to get the light, is to follow Jesus, his Son, because only through his Son will you get to the Father. And if you don't follow him and follow his teachings like his disciples, then you will not receive the light. You will not receive eternity. You will not see those others who are in heaven, who are waiting for you, who have already had the light, who have served their time here on earth, but have received the rewards in heaven. That is, we are dead and blind to the light until the life of Jesus is imparted to us by God's Spirit, and then we see. So once we receive him, we acknowledge Jesus. We ask Jesus to forgive us our sins. And we acknowledge him. When we're acknowledging Jesus, we're acknowledging the light, we're acknowledging that God is our Father, then our eyes will be open to actually what is going on around us. There's a spiritual warfare. Satan, who for himself, is after us to keep us from the light. He wants every one of us clay figures to be with him. He don't want us to be with the Father. He wants us to stay in the darkness. So either we're going to wake up and acknowledge God, acknowledge Jesus as a Son, listen to his teachings, follow his word, be the beacon of light in this dark world so we can bring others to God. That is what God is asking us to do, to continue what others has taught us to do, is to be the beacon of light in this such dark world. So as the invitational song is said, if there's anyone here who feels like their light is not of that shining, or they need to be prayed for, their light needs to be burning brighter than it ever was, to say, God, I know I haven't did what I've had to do. Tell me what I need to do. Show me what I need to do so I can be that most bright beacon light to you.